Welcome to NAIOP Solution Series program titled Beyond the Cube, Being Ready for Tomorrow's Office. And I will be your host. The Solution Series programs are available at no cost to NAIOP members. These mini webinars run less than 30 minutes, and our goal is to provide you with some quick tips and insights, all types of positive strategies and tactics to help you succeed in today's business environment. Is there a topic you would like to learn more about? Please send us an email to solutions@naiop.org to let us know what topics you would like to hear from in future programs. NAIOP has produced the popular Solution Series programs for over 2 years. Did you miss one of our informative topics? The archives of these programs are available to NAIOP members at no cost through the on-demand bookstore. Examples of past programs are listed on the current slide. Our topics cover finance, niche development, logistics, and more. Visit the NAIOP website at www.naiop.org/solution series for links to the archives. And now let's get on with our program. With us today is Zach Edwards, an associate with Gensler, Dallas. During Zach's career, he has had the opportunity to assume leadership roles in the design, construction documentation, and construction administration for an impressive portfolio of projects. His successes include corporate headquarters projects for Denbury Resources, AT&T, and Mary Kay. Zach's keen technical proficiency, attention to detail, and collaborative approach continue to earn him the respect of clients, contractors, and staff. In Gensler's Dallas office, Zach is an office leader for CAD standards and is also a select member of the Project Management Committee and Trusted Advisors. Welcome, Zach. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Sandy, and thank you, NAIOP. I'm truly honored to be a part of your Solution Series. I also appreciate those members that are listening in today, so I hope I'm able to share some useful information that you can start applying to your business right away. As Sandy mentioned, I'm an architect at Gensler, and I specialize in the commercial projects here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During my career, I've had the relatively unique opportunity and ability to work on both commercial interior and base building architecture. I believe that this experience in both the workplace interiors and ground-up office buildings will allow me to offer a broad-based perspective to those attending. Today, we'll take a look at how to get beyond that cube and be ready for tomorrow's office. We'll take a quick look at the workplace of yesterday and today, and then I'll show you the enormous strides that are being made towards and the changes that will dramatically affect the workplace of tomorrow. The workplace is now recognized as a valuable tool for both productivity and recruitment. Ultimately, we really need to resist that temptation just to rewrap the same old solution. Let's take a quick flashback to the office of yesterday. In the not too distant past, work was seen as a series of tasks, and a lot of the decisions were strictly made on economics. The original school of thought was that everybody needed an office just so they could focus. In time, a significant number of offices transitioned to open rather than closed plans. Employees were pushed out of their offices and into workstations just to save money. With cost savings as the sole motivation, building floor plates increased. The thought theory there was that the larger the floor plate, the more people you could cram in. This sea of workstations or cube farms, often with these high partitions for the privacy now that they're in the open office, became the butt of Conan O'Brien, Sunday morning cartoons, even movies, and others' jokes. You would walk into an office like this and wonder, where is everybody? Today, a lot of changes are taking place. Many workplaces are moving towards more open plans. Some organizations are eliminating the private offices, except for a few functions such as HR and accounting. Others are significantly reducing the number of private offices if they can't get rid of them altogether. High partition cubicles, like we knew before, are becoming a thing of the past. Lower dividers offer many benefits, such as more visibility, greater collaboration, and the right to natural light. Gensler's workplace research has found that employees need their workplace to provide more than just a space to focus. They need space to collaborate, space to socialize, and space to learn. The most effective workplaces provide a combination of spaces for all four of what Gensler calls work modes. Let me explain the work modes real quick. It's Through our research, we found that they do work in 4 basic modes. There's the focus space, which is your head down, solitary work, the stuff that you really need to crank out something. Then there's the collaboration space. This could be your conference rooms or just that impromptu table and chairs. Then there's the socialization space. This is important to a lot of the younger generations. These can be accommodated by break rooms or lounges or cafeterias. Then there's the learning space. This is your training rooms, your labs. Oftentimes it's a multifunctional space that works in conjunction with the collaboration space or the socialization space, and it just is reconfigured into a learning mode. The result, it's less me space, but more we space. Work today is seen as an interaction rather than the task of the past. Spaces like these small cafes, lounges, and these small seating nooks all encourage this informal interaction. Workstation square footage is being slashed as well, in some cases to less than half the traditional size. This is to devote more space to these formal and informal meeting places. The 8x10s and 8x8s of the past are now down to 6x6s or even smaller. The technology advances have really helped facilitate this. The flat screen monitors that many of you probably have on your desk right now take up far less room than the bulky CRT monitors of the past. Large desktop phones are being phased out in favor of the small, slim cell phone docking stations. Today, people are living and working longer. The workplace of tomorrow will have to accommodate 4 generations of workers at the same time. The significance is huge. There's vast differences in workforce behaviors and motivation and the tools that all these generations need to work. Managing all the very different expectations and work styles will be one of the greatest challenges facing employers moving forward. By 2020, Gen X, after bumping up against the boomers in those decision-making roles for the past 2 decades or so, will finally be in charge. I read an interesting Time.com article titled "The Future of Work When Gen X Runs the Show." It was written by, or interviewed by, Rob Carter, the Chief Information Officer at FedEx. And he said that the best training for anyone who wants to succeed in 10 years is this online game called World of Warcraft. It's a game that really gives you a peek into the workplace of the future. There's teams involved, and they're created to resolve fast-paced, complicated problems, and each player on that team must contribute or else they lose their spot. The player who contributes the most gets to lead until somebody else contributes more than that person. Rob described it. It takes exactly the same skill set people will need in the future to collaborate on work projects. The kids today are already doing it. So think about this. By 2020, having World of Warcraft guild leader on your resume may just be the thing companies are looking for. However, boomers won't vanish from the workplace altogether. They'll still need the income, and their employers will need their skills. They may become free agents, so to speak, and work part-time as consultants or strategists. Some predict there may be even job sharing at the senior levels to allow boomers to keep working but still have their leisure time. Imagine this, co-CFOs. We know that in a few short years, millennials will account for nearly half of all employees across the globe. Now, millennials are not all the young 20-somethings fresh out of college. By 2015, the earliest of this generation will be around 35, and possibly in middle manager level positions or even executives. Research shows that millennials view work as a key part of life, not this activity that they have to balance. For this reason, they place a strong emphasis on finding work that's personally fulfilling to them. They want work to afford them the opportunity to make new friends, learn new skills, and connect on a much larger purpose. All of these are key factors in their job satisfaction. And the office needs to provide opportunities for all of these things, such as socialization and learning, to attract and retain this generation. The Generation C, or as we call it the connected generation, works really long and odd hours. So how does this really affect the workplace? Well, it means that employees need to make and take into account the office being comfortable 24/7. This could be 24-hour HVAC needs, really highly accessible refreshments when other places are closed, and lounge space. A recent project I just completed for an energy company here in the Metroplex went through this same process. They relocated and consolidated multiple locations into one cohesive unit, and their main focus was really to attract and retain talent. This required to create a space that appealed to the younger generation without totally disregarding the existing workforce and some of the older generations. Things like socialization, collaboration, and learning work modes were very important in this design process. So what does tomorrow look like? The successful workplace of tomorrow is about retaining and attracting this talent, encouraging the sharing of ideas, getting fit, saving money, and even saving the planet. Research estimates that by 2050, 75% of the world population will be living in cities. And it will need to accommodate approximately 3 to 4 billion additional people. This extreme urbanization will stress the planet unless we make our office buildings of the future self-sustaining, hyper-productive, extraordinarily efficient, flexible, and highly collaborative. Everything will need to serve multiple purposes. Just to give a quick example, think about the roof. It's no longer just a roof or an opportunity for highly efficient insulation, but at its full potential, it's a green roof that offsets the building footprint. It's an extension of the urban landscape or even an urban garden, and it certainly becomes an additional social gathering place. Tomorrow is an efficient workplace. Floor plates are ever-changing. Base spacing and the optimal planning depth is changing as well, all to figure out the best efficiency. It's also about to bring in more natural light and help offset the amount of artificial light that's needed. Here's an interesting bit of data that we've found through our sustainability research. And the total energy for your standard office building, the artificial light contributes about 35% of total energy use. Whereas if you get a really efficiently designed building, the artificial lighting will only contribute to about 15%. There's many benefits to natural lighting as well. I've talked about the economic, but there's also the environmental, the biological, and even the aesthetic, just to name a few. It really comes down to the healthy balance in maintaining a holistic approach that combines daylighting with the needs that everybody has for artificial lighting, but also looking at the ramifications on the mechanical systems. Base spacing and planning depth is also changing to redistribute and reallocate the workspace to align with some of the 4 work modes that I talked about earlier. It's no longer just about office space or your private office space. The building skin to floor plate ratio is also becoming more and more efficient. This can really translate into real cost savings. It's not just about efficiency and effectiveness of these ever-developing high-performance office buildings, but the way things are laid out. Our research has shown us that the single most important design element contributing to the energy efficiency of a building is the building envelope. To discuss a few of the images that you see on screen right now, this was for a project that we did out of our LA office for Avenue of the Stars, and it's just kind of diagrammatically explaining this whole building to floor plate ratio. What you have on the left is 2 separate buildings, pretty standard, pretty universal across the board. When you possibly cram those together to create a really long, multifunctioning floor plate, you have the same amount of floor area space, but you've essentially cut off 2 facades of the building, therefore increasing your floor plate to building skin ratio. The ultimate, I guess, party solution on the far right took into account the need for additional square footage. They pulled those buildings back apart, created almost kind of a bridge structure, added what was once the original building skin area, but it increased the total floor area, therefore having still yet again a better building skin to floor plate ratio. Tomorrow will be flexible. Here's the long floor plate that I showed in the previous slide, and these are being generated to accommodate many needs. The double cores or even displaced cores In some cases, we've even seen this translate into the potential to remove the multi-tenant corridor altogether. This provides a more leasable square footage. We're also seeing multiple stairs, sometimes even up to 4 per plate, just to provide the convenience and flexibility needed for these larger floor plates. This flexibility improves multi-tenant building leasing and exit strategies. Building in maximum flexibility also enhances the tenant's ability to incorporate different uses and the different work modes we've been talking about. Think about trading floors at one extreme, which is almost entirely open office, to law firms or other professional firms at the opposite end of the spectrum, which oftentimes are private office intensive. This also creates a real need for flexible systems. Things like demountable walls, plug-and-play systems, modular HVAC and lighting systems, all are needed to help accommodate and lessen the cost of churn. Movable walls also allow maximum flexibility in multi-purpose reconfigurable rooms. I talked about earlier how learning rooms are often utilized as multifunction space that act as conference rooms, etc. The office of the future needs to provide space for collaboration. As I mentioned, the Millennial and Gen Z workers are collaborators, and they work best in teams. The workplaces of the future need to accommodate this preferred way to work. At one of our recent consulting clients projects, they went from 1- and 2-person offices to also offering a 4-person shared office. These 4-person offices were in such demand that in their planned expansion, they're focusing on adding 6- and even 8-person offices. It really is about knowledge sharing across the generations and this culture of mentorship. We also need to add more teaming spaces within workstation clusters and program more team rooms and conference rooms of varied sizes. Instead of the large, bulky conference rooms, we're utilizing these kind of smaller and more adaptive spaces. The large conference rooms just simply aren't being used as much today. With wireless technologies allowing us to work from anywhere, the office needs to be valued more for its social and cultural role rather than simply a place to come plop down and work. In other words, we need an important reason to come to the office. The millennials expect their workplace to provide socialization. There are certain architectural elements we're seeing pop up as well. Interconnecting stairs provide greater connectivity and increases opportunity and act as a magnet for impromptu socialization and collaboration. There's many tools out there to help, and we need to take advantage of them all so that we can facilitate this knowledge sharing, enforce the culture of the companies, and support all the work modes we've been talking about. Tomorrow's office will be employee-centric. When tenants are selecting a building, office building amenities, things like the neighboring transit, the shopping availability, even health clubs or dining within the building continue to be a key part of the decision-making process. They're always looking for these amenities of relaxation and socialization and health and fitness. Employees, or employers rather, are even providing snacks to help keep them on campus so that they don't have to leave. Some are starting to consider home-like amenities to allow for working on the weekends when that need arises. The employee-focused decision-making helps create an office that acts as a second home. Also, with the urban migration expectations of the future that I talked about previously, the architectural fabric and network that the office is located within will be all about location, location, location. It is very important. Mixed-use environments that are walkable, transit-oriented developments, all continue to be included in the important decision-making factors. This will affect job choices of the younger and future generations. As we've learned recently, the walkability feature of where an office is located is simply a crucial decision-making point for the young generation. Tomorrow will be more technology-focused than ever. We've seen a dramatic increase in the IT to staff ratio, and it'll continue to increase just to keep up with the technology demands. The state-of-the-art technology and expenses associated with them will simply be expected. They're expected by a workforce that is more enabled than ever before. Technology is already making a difference. I talked about the workstations shrinking before, and they're going to continue to shrink dramatically. You know, even the 4x6s and smaller benching options. The complete replacement of desktop computers with laptops, and eventually those with more advanced tablet computing, as well as things like the removal of large phone systems with the cell phone docks, all of this will free up more desk space. In the very near future, we may not even need an actual keyboard or computer. And the neat thing will be how this advanced technology seamlessly integrates into the office. Employees will no longer be tethered to their office. With all the wireless technology, mobile computing, and collaboration tools like this GoToMeeting we're using right now, employees can work anytime, anywhere. Also, the remote storage technology, such as cloud computing, will allow us to access whatever documents we need at any time. However, it's important to keep in mind security, as this will be the biggest driver to the success of mobility in your workforce. A crucial point is to keep technology as diverse as possible. This will allow anyone from any generation to work any way that they want. Tomorrow will be a branded environment. This is a very important avenue for employers to connect with both clients and their employees. It also allows companies to stand out from their competitors. A strong brand throughout the office space shows employees that they are valued within their company. Branding also lets you know immediately that you're in a XYZ company's space. It also creates a cultural space, one that people can relate to. With an increasingly mobile workforce, iconic spaces and imagery and all things that tie into the emotional status are more and more important to create this emotional connection with employees. Again, giving these employees a reason to come to the office and interact with each other. For building owners and operators, it's very important to consider branding. The building needs to develop an identity. This is what's going to help it get recognized. It needs to create strong spaces. These attract tenants. And it needs to really embrace the curb appeal. After all, we all know that first impressions really do matter. In wrapping up, I hope you've been able to take away some key points, some ideas regarding where the office has been, where we currently are, and what the future might hold for tomorrow's office. I truly thank you for your attendance. Feel free to contact me anytime you need to on the email address on the screen in regards to this presentation or simply about the design and planning of the workplace for tomorrow.
Zach, thanks for a great presentation and sharing your thoughts on office space needs in the future. This is the final Solution Series program for the year. Our first program for 2012 will air on January 10th. Watch your email for NAIOP source or corporate e-newsletter for the program link. Thank you for listening to our session.